Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing amazing. In this video, I will be talking about the new Canadian border measures which are now in effect, and travelers may now enter Canada with an antigen test and other COVID-19 measures in effect as of February 28, 2022. Well, that's the latest update. Canada is actually allowing travelers to enter the country with just a pre-arrival antigen test, and before travelers initially they were supposed to have a molecular test like a PCR test taken within 72 hours before their scheduled flight or arrival here at the border. And all travelers to Canada age 5 and older, they will still need a COVID test. That means if your kid is below 5, that's fine. You don't need any COVID test to cross the border. And the new measures will allow for incoming travelers to provide an antigen test result that has to be taken within 1 day before their scheduled flight. Or arrival here in any of the border, if it's not flight, if you're traveling through land, and so it has to be that. And the test cannot be taken at home. It's a self test that you guys do, so it must be done by a lab, healthcare entity, or any telehealth servers, and be authorized by the country in which it was done. So it's not that you did it but the country didn't authorize, so you basically didn't do it right. PCR tests are still accepted. No rules have changed for pre-arrival or PCR test. In addition to the removal of this PCR test requirement, unvaccinated children would no longer have to isolate for 14 days, which was initially the case, and international flights would again resume at all airports. So that's a good news. If you have recovered from COVID-19, travelers, for instance, who continue to test positive for COVID-19 after recovering, they were allowed to board a plane with certain conditions. So you need to provide a positive COVID-19 molecular test on specimen collected at least 10 days and no more than 180 days before entering into Canada as part of their pre-arrival test requirements. So remember, if you were tested positive, you're supposed to provide a positive COVID-19 molecular test on a specimen collected at least 10 days and not more than 180 days on which you're going to board that flight. Okay, and then ArriveCAN. So all travelers still they have to submit their mandatory information via ArriveCAN, and incoming travelers can use either the desktop of mobile app to submit their proof of vaccination, either English or French, and quarantine plan prior to arriving in Canada. Now, for travelers who are not fully vaccinated, that means if you're partially vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated, then you will need to quarantine in a suitable place for 14 days and then take a mandate COVID-19 test on arrival and on day 8. So that's what you need to do. If you are a fully vaccinated traveler, then you do not need to quarantine upon arrival here, provided you have met the following criteria, which means you have a pre-entry testing requirement, which is of course there. And when you arrive, say it's negative, but still you should have no symptom. You need to submit all the required COVID-19 information which is required. You have to submit your proof of vaccination. You have a suitable quarantine plan in case you don't qualify. But if you do not have a plan, then it would be an issue. So let's assume you are fully vaccinated and you are not technically in that zone that you need to quarantine, but you should have a plan B. Like if it's not accepted, then you should now mandate random test upon arrival if you're fully vaccinated. And let's say you're randomly selected for a test, because it happens, people are randomly selected for it, then you must take the arrival test as directed on the day you enter Canada. So you cannot say no, I'm exempted, because this is a random test and it's fine. You may get the test at the airport, or the officials may give you a self swab kit at the airport or land border to complete within 24 hours when you enter the country. And if you are randomly selected for a test, then you do not have to wait for the results. You can just travel to your final destinations, because see, you are exempted already, but you were just randomly selected, so you don't have to worry about it. And last but not the least, modified quarantine for children aged 12, children under 12 who are not fully vaccinated, traveling with fully vaccinated or medically exempt adults. They will be exempt from quarantine too, and they no longer need to wait 14 days for attending the school, camp, or daycare. Isn't that great? So again, these children might be selected for mandatory random testing, but still they will not be required to quarantine even while awaiting the test results, similar to the adults who are traveling. So even when you are fully vaccinated, randomly selected for arrival. COVID-19 test, but then you don't have to wait and you can still go to your final destination. The rule is same for children age 12 or for adults. So that's pretty much all about it. That's how the rules for travel have changed so far as per the latest update, which is 28th Feb 2022. If something else will come up, I will be there and I will let you know. Take care. Bye.